For those that don't know who I am Coach Mike. I am similar to the guy that was running around making a bunch of announcements with a lot of energy. It's going to take me a little time to warm up because I don't want to scare you guys. Keep you here. Where is Connor Ford? Connor Ford, you here?
Prob's not.
Probably. Raise his hand. There you go. I'm going to need you in a few minutes. I hope you remembered your memory verse. If not, you're going to be embarrassing me. I'm kidding. But out of all seriousness, today, it's an important day because it's something that I've been looking forward to, speaking to young men and young women just to talk about your gift. Making sure that you have your gift and that you're giving it. Did it just go out? Did it just, if it did, it's okay, because I can be louder.
Yeah, I hear it.
All right, so making sure you know what your gift is and being able to share it with the world. And to talk about that, I'm going to use the story of Jonah. How many people know that story? Raise your hand. Beautiful. So I don't have to do a big recap. But Jonah was a person who ran away from God. And the way that I looked at it is Jonah ran away from his gift. God gave him something, told him to go somewhere to provide it to people who don't have it, who don't believe. And he said, no, I don't want to do it. Why is that important? Because if you are squandering the gift that God has given you, then you can't bless others. Because the gift that you're given is supposed to be shared, right? That's why it's called a gift, right? Christmas comes, you get a gift, someone has given it to you so that you can be happy. Hey, thank you very much. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Allowance money, video games, sneakers, you name it. So making sure that you know what your gift is. Yes. Not running away from that gift, because eventually God is going to take events in your life and make sure that you come right back to where you started. Jonah ran. He said, you know what? I'm going to get away from God. I'm going to go on the ship. I'm getting away from this place because I don't want to do what he asked me to do. How many people agree that it's okay, you should be able to run away, be able to get away from what someone asked you to do? A teacher, a parent, a subordinate. Someone asks you to do something, so no one raised their hand. Everyone agrees that when someone asks you to do it, you should, right? Does everybody remember that commandment? Honor thy, right. And that's important because they're teaching you how to navigate through life based on what God has left us in the Bible. Not just based on their mistakes, but based on what has been left in the Bible. And that's very important. See, if someone is just teaching you based on the mistakes that they've made, then there's a whole realm of life that you're going to miss. You should always base it on the perfect book that has been left for us. The example, the blueprint that is left for you guys so that you know how to navigate through life's problems and trials. Everyone agree? Good. So now he's on the ship. Jonah's on the ship, and he's on the bottom of the ship. He's thinking, I can get away. I can get away from what God has asked me to do because God is never going to find me here. What happens next? We have this storm. And the storm, literal, figurative, can be that roadblock. You've gone away, and you said, I don't want to do it, but then you have these incidents, these life events that happen that always bring you back to that thing. It's now 2019. It's been about 5 years. And I told this story to those that went up to Andrews. There was a point in my life where I ran away from my gift. I was playing in a game, and the guy punched my hand. Broke it. And being the guy that I was, I said, I'm going to finish this game. It was minutes into the first half. And everyone said, well, you're crazy. I said, well, God's going to be with me. Thinking lightly of it because at that point, I wasn't really believing as much as I should. Not only did God get me through the game, but I didn't have any more injuries. I ended up having to get surgery. I was in a cast from about my fingertip to my elbow. And that was a point that changed my entire life. Because I said, I don't want to play anymore. See, basketball is just a sport, right? It's an unimportant sport that does nothing for my life. I can't bless people playing the sport of basketball. How? How? When I should be servicing other people. God, there's got to be another way of doing this. And somehow he just kept bringing me back because that was the gift that he gave me. And before you know it, my hand's healed, I'm out of the cast. But he puts me through another trial. Jonah, his trial was to go to where? Does everybody remember? What was it again? Good, he goes to Nineveh. My Nineveh was, you need to go teach in Brooklyn. You're going to teach in Brooklyn, not just in any neighborhood in Brooklyn, but the worst place in Brooklyn, you're going to teach there. They're going to look like how some of you look. They're polos, slacks, shoes, but their mindset is different. Their mindset is based on, I need to look like that guy on TV, that guy that's in the video, the guy that comes down the street in a nice fancy car with the big old shiny rims. I need to be able to get money like that. And here I am, canned goods. I'm eating canned goods. I'm eating ramen noodles. I'm eating all of these things that at one point when I looked at other people do it, I said, this isn't how people should live. That's terrible. And now here I am living just like that because God is putting me in this place where now I have to preach to these kids through my actions, through my words, and that I'm following through. And as interesting as I say follow through, the first thing I think of is the jump shot. I told kids all year, if you shoot like this, it will never go in. But if you hold your follow through, you can see where your mistake is. You can see through the repetitions how you've done a good job, and to try and continue to repeat the same process over and over and over again, just like life. You think that you've gotten over a trial, right? And then here comes a trial again. I put up a post in my story a few days ago, and was talking about this guy, Andrew Bogut. He was a guy who played with Golden State. He was there for their first championship, 2015, and as soon as they won, they shipped him off. He's playing in his native country in Australia. He's probably in his head thinking, man, I was in a championship team. I was at the high of all NBA. Now here I am, starting over again. Anyone that knows, they just brought him back. So now he's back to where he started. Why? So that he can see his progress. See, it's not about the player, it's about the mentality. Because maybe he wasn't ready to bless others because of where his mind was, and he needed to get himself correct. Same thing with Jonah. He gets to Nineveh, he tells people, well, your city is going to come to rule. But the thing about it is, you can change. Now, the belief in change is beautiful because you're looking beyond what you can see. When you look at the person next to you, do you see someone that believes in God? When you look at that person that doesn't have money, that's standing with that sign off of Exit 5, asking for change, do you believe that that's somebody that you should minister to? Or is that somebody that you pass by and you say, oh, it's just another guy, doesn't need any help, probably just wants a little bit of my money? But I'm here to tell you that that is a test. If you can't minister to people who don't look like you, that aren't in the same neighborhoods as you, that don't have the same privileges as you, then you've already lost. Because what did Jesus do? Jesus didn't just hang out with the Pharisees and were throwing money around and was spending it on all these different things. He was with the lowly. He was with the weak. He healed the sick. So if Jesus can do that, why can't we? With my job, when I'm in East Lake, I teach special ed. And these students, traumatic brain injury, autism, you name it. There's so many different learning disabilities, and I'm learning as I go along. They don't have the privilege of being able to make rational decisions. And here I am, having to be Jonah and tell them, there's a way out. There's a way that you can be better. There is a way that you will be able to live what they see as a normal life. If I could bring one of these kids up here, they will look at you and say, man, I want to be like them. And they're going to look up to you because they know they have something to aspire to. But on the other hand, they go home to mom and dad yell at them. They're probably beaten. They're probably neglected. And there's no one in their corner that can truly say, you are blessed by God. You may look at this as an affliction, but take it as your blessing, because this is not where you are going to end. And it took me a while to really comprehend that as I was reading the story of Jonah. I also read this book, a guy named David Goggins. Similar guy, overweight, and he pushed himself. Only man in United States history to go through Navy, Marines, and Army. And in a month, he did over 100 miles in marathons. And people asked him, how did he do it? In a roundabout way, he said, I didn't want to just believe that this, where I started, is going to be who I am when I finish. So where you start isn't necessarily where you are going to finish. Raise your hand if you feel like you're going through a hard time, a challenge, a trial, a tribulation, and you think that maybe you might not be able to get through it. Anyone? It could be grades, it could be home life, it could be just trying to fit in, it could be anything. Where you're starting now is not going to be where you finish. And I'm standing in front of you to tell you that. Because even as Jonah had to realize when that plant that he had nothing to do with disappeared, he had to understand that it's not about what he wants, but it's about what God wants. See, life is bigger than just yourself. And I had the privilege to watch a few young men and women come together for common cause. And it wasn't for basketball. It was for salvation. There's something different that we did with Boys Varsity. We used Romans 12 to apply it to life. And the way we took Romans 12 and applied it was beautiful. I watched a few young men grow, and the way they were able to go from this to this was beautiful. Because of just the start of that chapter where it talks about not conforming of the way of the world, understanding that they were many members of the body coming together. So everyone has a unique skill. Everyone has a unique thing that they bring. But it's a matter of using that to come together for all of us to be well. So I want to challenge everybody in here. Try to bless someone outside of you. Someone that doesn't look like you. Someone that doesn't live in your neighborhood. You never know how powerful those little words of good morning can go, or you are blessed can go, because it's all a test. If you can continuously bless others, you'd be surprised on the effect that it will have on their life. Because there's once a kid that didn't believe, but because they see the kindness and the goodness in your heart, they may be able to believe once. They may be able to believe again. They may be able to try and help others. And before I close, there's a gentleman that demonstrated this throughout the entire year. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to come with us, but we saved him a shirt. Jason Ennis, are you here? On the front, Andrews University. On the back, has everyone signed. So we wanted to make sure we gave that to you. But also, I want to tell you guys how important this guy Jason was to me. Jason was a guy that when we made our team and we had our managers, he wasn't on me. This was a guy who, because he wanted to, he showed up every day to to every practice, to every game. And he was here to cheer these guys on, to let them know that they are blessed, that they are loved, that there is someone in their corner. I truly believe that he was our #1 fan. So, Jason, thank you for everything that you've shown the team. Thank you for everything that you taught me, and I know that God is going to bless you going forward. That's pretty much it for me. I feel like it's like an outer body experience. My body is cold, and it's like I'm looking at myself because God is taking me from where I was to show me where I am today. And if you would have asked me 5, 10 years ago if I was going to be here talking to kids, I would have told you, no way. I'm not the example that kids need to see. But the way that God has changed me from not believing to being baptized in the church to coaching here and just interacting with each and every one of you, I would be remiss if I didn't say a few thank yous. So first and foremost, I want to thank Coach Pardo. Is he here? Coach Pardo, thank you. He was a man that when we sat down at the end of the year, he reminded me of how he saw me just waking up early mornings, Wednesday and Fridays. Not just because I wanted to. And before I knew it, I was giving words of advice, not just on the court, but in life, about just how to be consistent, how to help others, and for them to be their best selves. So because of Coach Pardo and his beliefs, I was able to coach here for my first season, so thank you for that. Also want to thank Principal Baldwin. Thank you for your continued belief. I know that we'll have a pretty good season working together, but outside of that, just watching how you are as a man, being able to do all the things that you do here for the school, and I know the students appreciate you. And last but not least, I'm gonna try not to cry, but this guy, from the beginning, I was in the gym and I asked this man, well, what is this 7-day Adventism about? How can I be a part of it? Coach Moon, thank you. Your talks, Bible study, inviting me to your home, making me feel like I belong. I think if it wasn't for you, I probably would have left. And your belief made me stay, and that I can be a difference, not just to others, but that I can be a different person. So thank you very much. So with that, if everyone could just stand. It's going to be a little different. I want everyone to just hold the hand of the person next to you so we can encourage others. Everyone bow your heads. Father, thank you for everything that you've done for these young men and women. Thank you what you have done for me and the change that you have made. I ask that you be with these young men, these young women, the teachers, and everyone in this building, that we may walk out of here and be a difference, not just in the lives of this room, but in the lives of others outside, that we continue your work, we uphold your name, and we continue to give you the praise, the glory, and the honor. These things we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.